Hey everybody, it's Eric from epautos.com, your Libertarian car guy. And I would have been doing a review and walk around this week of the new Ford F-150, but something happened to it, and so they didn't bring it to me. And so it occurred to me that I might do a kind of a retro review here about my Nissan Frontier pickup, the old model. This model was made largely the same from 1998 through 2004. It's one of my personal favorites. I've owned two. This is the one I've got right now, which is a 2002. And among other things, it's compact, and that means it actually fits in the garage, and it's not overwhelmingly huge. I'm a 6'3", 200-pound man, and a lot of the new trucks, the 1500s, are just so big they make me feel small. Look at this bed, a 6.5-foot bed. Big enough for me, big enough to get almost anything home from Lowe's or from a job site, and more importantly, it comes up to about my belly button, so I can easily look in the bed, and I can easily pull things up and out of the bed. A lot of the new 1500s are so jacked up, and the bed walls are so high, they're like right about here, and you literally need a ladder to get into the things, and the Ford F-Truck has actually got a ladder built into the bed because it's just that difficult to get into the thing. Something else that's cool about these older Frontiers, at least the 1998, 1999 models, was that you could get four-wheel drive with the four-cylinder engine. I had a 98 with the four-wheel drive and the four-cylinder engine. By no means was it a high-performance asphalt ripper, but it was a great little four-wheel drive truck that got not too horrible gas mileage. And again, in a package that was reasonably sized. Let me show you something else. I'll pop the hood here. Bear with me for a second. I don't have an intern to help me do these videos, so kind of got to do it piecemeal and as you can. So hang on a minute. Okay, this is the 2.4 liter four-cylinder engine, and as you can see, there's just a ton of room under the hood here. I would not recommend getting one of these things with the V6 that was available because the V6 is really jammed in there and it's difficult to work on it. I've, again, owned two of these with the four-cylinder engine, and these things are largely bulletproof and will go 250,000 miles with any kind of decent care, and they're very, very simple to work on and very DIY friendly. Nothing about the vehicle is difficult to work on. This is a two-wheel drive model. It averages about 22-ish miles per gallon, which is, again, not fantastic, but not terrible for a truck. Let me close the hood. But the thing that I really like about this truck is that inside of it, you've got pretty much everything that you would realistically want and nothing that you don't need. Modern trucks have got flat screens, and they've got, in my opinion, entirely too much technology, and of course, a surplusage of safety equipment, and that's true generally of all modern cars. I've written articles before about the sweet spot of automotive design, which in my opinion is circa the late 1980s through the 90s and the early 2000s. And that was the era during which the important advances that have made cars so great relative to the cars of the past came online, and chiefly those are electronic fuel injection and overdrive transmissions that make the vehicles incredibly reliable, very easy to start, largely maintenance-free, and they get good gas mileage too. But these vehicles from that period don't have too much of the other stuff that the new cars have. For example, this car only has 2 airbags. Driver, passenger, that's it. The new vehicles typically have at least 6, and a lot of them have 8 or more airbags. And that might sound really good to you if you're into safety, but if you get into a relatively minor and otherwise fixable accident that bangs up the body a little bit and a couple or 3 of those airbags go off, you might have totaled your car, and that's one reason why the cost to insure modern cars, new cars anyway, has gotten to be so great. I like the fact that this has got mechanical rotary knobs. This isn't connected to some kind of electronic bus that sends a signal to something. It still has manual rolled-up windows, which I prefer. I know the new electric motors are very light and very reliable, but still, again, it's more complexity. These manual ones will pretty much last the lifetime of the truck. Unfortunately, for fans of smaller trucks, there are none available anymore. And that has to do with a couple of things. One of them is something called the chicken tax. And the chicken tax was something that was passed back in the 60s under Johnson as a retaliatory measure, and it prohibits, or it imposes a heavy tariff on the importation of smaller trucks. And right now, most of the small trucks are no longer made in the United States, which means they have to be imported here, which means they get subject to the tax. And that's one reason why the Ford Ranger, for example, which is another compact truck, is no longer available. So the other two that are still around are the Frontier and the Toyota Tacoma, but in both cases they got upsized. Nissan chose to upsize the Frontier in 2005, and I think that Toyota did the Tacoma right around the same time, so that now both of those trucks are mid-sized. And the Chevrolet or the GM models, the Canyon and the Colorado, are also mid-sized trucks. And they're great if you want a crew cab, a four-door truck that can carry 4 or 5 people and not carry very much in the bed, because they typically have short beds. And if you don't mind having the elaborate, expensive V6 and spending $35,000 on a truck, these things, on the other hand, were fairly inexpensive when they were new, and they're pretty inexpensive now. I picked this thing up, gosh, I guess it's been about 6 years ago, for a little over $7,000, and it's probably worth about the same now, notwithstanding that it's got another 30,000 miles on it, and I'll put another 100,000 miles on this thing probably before it begins to get tired. Anyway, that's all I've got on this now. I might write something about it to follow up. There's some new stuff on the site, epautos.com, which I hope you'll come by and check out, including a piece on the latest in for-profit policing, and it's pretty outrageous. So thanks for viewing, and thanks for coming to the site, and we'll catch up with you next time.